Like it or not, the enforcement of the new baseball substance rule, which begins on Monday.
I find it strange how far-reaching they made this thing, and I also found it strange at what point they implemented it, but I know that was something that Tariq wanted to talk about. Like, you're not allowed to wear sunscreen as a pitcher in the summer outside? Like, I mean, like, I don't mean to sound inappropriate, but like, is Major League Baseball ready for the class action lawsuits of guys that have melanoma when they become 50, 60, 70 years old? Like, I mean, what are you doing, man? Like, you went from everything is okay all the time, we're going to look the other way, to anything that comes out of a can you can't have within 10 feet of you before you go out and play baseball.
Listen, when I saw Tyler Glass out Tampa Bay, the comments that he made, it made me feel a little bit differently about the way the game is being sort of refereed right now or managed right now. The one thing I will say about this is that he mentioned the fact that there were legendary players that have used this tactic before. Legendary players and players currently that have not said anything about spider tack or anything else to that effect. It made me understand the fact that this is a culture in which no one really is supposed to rat anybody out. But because they started doing that, now Major League Baseball is like, we got to protect the integrity, the image. And, oh, by the way, offense is down. We've got to get it back up. So they made this adjustment on pitchers throughout the year, which could lead to more injuries, which is what Glasshour say, and could lead to actual averages going up in Major League Baseball as the summer heats up a little bit. So I actually am kind of surprised that they made it so quickly for this integrity of the game, even though everybody knows what every other pitcher is using. So I'm just shocked that it was done so quickly. And I hope that players don't get injured. If they had just basically said, hey, by the way, by 2022, this is going to be the new rule for going forward, maybe it would be a little bit better. But this is a shock to a lot of pitchers out here that know exactly what each other is doing.
You know, we were leading with this topic and had a good discussion with it last week. And it's like, but it's so developed now that they're actually doing this. And the fact, Pat, that they're doing it in the middle of the season. And the only analogy, and I got Tariq to agree that maybe I was close to something here, was like if a couple of people were killed in the streets as pedestrians hit by cars, that the Rochester Police Department all of a sudden decides, we're going to enforce the jaywalking law, and we're going to start putting you in prison for jaywalking. Just all of a sudden, and right now, as a solution to a problem that may or may not exist.
You're not wrong about that, but we are in an interesting situation because for the first time in professional sports, we're really going to see what a rule adjustment actually does to the number. Because if they did this in the offseason, well, they'd make 15 different excuses. Well, we did this to the ball, or well, ballpark's this and the weather this year compared to that. No, like you're going to see immediately, and you're starting to see immediately what these numbers are going to do, what the pitchers' numbers are going to do. And look, man, like you sit here, we can yell and scream, and baseball purists can be upset about it. But the fact of the matter is, offense is going to go up, and that's what baseball wants. So they're getting what they want, and they get to sit here and be like, well, you know, we're cleaning up the game, even though we don't ever do that until we have to. So it's good for them, man.
It's kind of reshuffling the deck. I says the problem that I wound up thinking about, much like Tariq over this past week from where our discussion was a week ago, was like, why are you just jamming this down everybody's throat? And it's like, you know, you could have established this and waited to next year, fix it and get a restart, give everyone a chance to adapt to it. They didn't do that, and you're right. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.